7 o'clock, time to Hit the Skins. Give you the latest on the Commanders. Hit the Skins, sponsored by Don't Sleep Energy Drink. Need to power up before you hit the skins? Don't Sleep has you covered. Head over to don'tsleepenergy.com. Use the promo code Junkies and get ready to be great. Don't Sleep is really good.
All right, guys. I thought we'd just take a look at the power rankings, the middle of the week here. It's kind of interesting.
Whose power rankings we're looking at?
We're looking at the Commanders.
No, I'm saying who put the
all a kind of a combination.
Gotcha.
And so they started out 2-0. Two, you could say mediocre teams for sure. So, you didn't know what to think of them. Then they play the Bills and just get smoked, just have a horrific game. So, obviously, they're going to drop in everyone's power rankings.
Yep. You're going to take a hit.
It is interesting. What do you gather after the 2-1 start of, and I'll tell you the companies that I'm looking at. Don't look them up. Okay. OddsShark, CBS Sports, Yahoo Sports, Pro Football Talk, ESPN. These are all that have been collated for us.
You're asking me like the average.
What do you think is the highest ranking?
Okay.
And then what do you think is the lowest?
So the range, by the way, I will give you my power ranking during the JPPP.
Very good.
During the Junkies Blitz of top 5 NFL teams and where the Commanders fit. I'm going to say the highest ranking is 16 and the lowest 26.
I'm going to say highest is 22 and the lowest is like 27.
Jason?
I'm going to say the highest is 15, lowest is 23.
All right. I think maybe JP's the closest. Jason, not too far. The highest is 14, actually.
Wow, somebody still has him that high.
OddsShark has him at 14. Pete Prisco, of all people, has him at 15.
He believes in them this season.
He believes in them.
Well, where did he have him last week? He probably had him at 9 or 10.
Last week he had him at 8.
Wow.
Well, let me tell you something about power rankings, at least right now. Like I've seen some power rankings where they'll have the Vikings, for example, who are 0-3, ahead of teams like the Commanders, who are 2-1, and it's based on expectations. The Vikings last year won 13 games.
Yeah, sure,
but
it's fair.
It may flip ultimately.
I've never heard of Touchdown Wire. They have them at 15. Yahoo Sports. And who's their writer? Schwab. Who is that? It's not Howie Schwab.
No,
Whoever they're
David Schwab.
It's not Dave Schwab, I don't think.
Charles Schwab.
It's not Charles.
Stump the Schwab.
Frank Schwab. Frank Schwab has him at 16. He only dropped them one spot.
What do they feel like to you? You're a Commander fan. What do they feel like to you? This is what they feel like to me.
20.
Without putting a number.
20.
They feel like, all right, the playoffs, it's 7 teams in each conference. So that's 14.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they feel like somewhere in that 16
like
to 20.
22 for me
I feel like
right
20,
now.
but, what if now it sucks because we're playing the Eagles, so it's unlikely. But, I mean, if we have another sort of offensive game and Hal is able to kind of, settle down, I'll feel a lot better.
Have you seen Jalen Carter's numbers?
Yeah,
they're
absurd.
stupid.
And he's putting up the numbers in a part-time role.
Yeah,
he's
I
not
think
even playing like every snap.
I think he had 16 snaps.
Well, that's one reason
this
why
past week.
they're going to be so good. He doesn't have to play every snap.
Jalen Carter has more quarterback pressures as a part-time player than Aaron Donald this year.
Right. He's a superstar.
Does he have more than Payne?
Yes. I think John Allen was on the list at number 2. I'd have to check again, but I saw a list. Allen had more pressures than Dron Payne.
This is a great challenge, and I do tend to agree with Doc. I've gone both ways on this and I've done this in years past, and I'm not going to do it now because it always angers people because I am doing it tongue in cheek. But I did consider going hard this week with the forfeit.
Okay. That would upset
just
the hardcores.
Just so we get healthy.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's let Sam's probably been concussed the last couple of weeks. Just nobody knows. He's just keeping it on the down low. Let's get him healthy, get him right.
Right.
I mean,
and then play the
We
Bears.
saw him in person a few days ago. He did not appear to be concussed.
All right.
And then play the Bears on a short week, which would have been a short week.
Just, you're probably going to lose anyway. So why? So let's just forfeit. Say, we had a flat tire or something. And then go in next week. We'll have a little bit more confidence,
the
a
bus
little bit more
broke down on
momentum.
the way to stadium.
Get a lesser team.
Everybody got sick.
Yeah.
I consider going that route, but I know it infuriates like the HTTC crowd, so I'm not going to do that. I do believe we can win, but it's gonna be hard. Now, the reason why I'm not going is because I do think the Eagles are off a tick. As great as they are, defensively, I don't think.
But they are 8.5-point favorites. Last time I checked,
they should be.
They're massive faves.
They should be, and I think it's going to take. Yeah, and everyone points to last year, but again, I'm telling you, I am a keen observer of this team. The only reason why we beat them is we exploited their hole in the defensive line.
Yeah,
they immediately went out. Who did they sign? Did they sign the guy?
Sue.
Ndamukong Suh.
Yeah,
immediately.
Yeah.
And then they went and they drafted Jalen Carter, all these guys.
Yeah.
They've addressed that issue. We're not going to be able to do what we did last year, rush for 150. I'm telling you, people, you're not keen observers if you think we're just going to rush for 150 against them.
Right. Hold on. That's not going to
happen.
Some HTTCers think that they're just going to replicate the blueprint from last year?
Yes, they're not paying attention.
Yeah.
That exploitation or whatever, that hole is not there.
They're just clinging to, we beat Philly last year. We can do this again.
Now, I recognize it's a division game, and these games tend to be tight. So we got a shot.
Philly is sixth in the league in offense at 385 yards per game.
I think there's more of a shot that there's a replay of a similar outcome to what happened to the Bills. Much more likely that happens than
I hope not, but
the
I
Commanders
think
go on the road
true.
and pull the upset.
I saw this
that's
yesterday. I just snapped a picture because it was on our Instagram page. Sports Junkies Radio. Give us a follow there. The last 2 weeks, the Eagles against Minnesota in week 2 ran for 259 yards and held the Vikings to 28 yards rushing.
Right.
Mm-hmm. This past week against Tampa, they ran for 201 yards, held Tampa to 41.
Did you see the screen?
So they run, and the opponents can't run on them.
Go on Twitter and look at the screenshot of the hole that DeAndre Swift had to run through in the Tampa game. I mean,
no one touched him.
All 6 of us could have run in a line in this hole and gained a big chunk of yards.
You could make the argument this will be our toughest challenge all season. Now, maybe the Dolphins, if they stay like the way they are too, I guess you could put the Dolphins up there. This is going to be a tough challenge. I don't know what to tell you. But it's going to be good to see because these coaches aren't dumb as much as we all critique them. They see the challenges in front of them. I can't wait to see how they approach it.
What adjustments does
I can't wait to see how
the enemy make?
Right.
But I think the Philly's going to force their hand. I really do.
What do you mean by that?
They're going to force them to pass as much as they've been passing.
They're going to put a lot of pressure on Hal.
That's fine. It just has to be. It's just got to be quick stuff. I don't understand why they put him in these longer drop backs. Especially when he's having trouble.
He needs to get rid of that ball with 2.2 seconds.
You guys remember when Cousins was here? He perfected the 3-step drop and just ripping those slants. That's what he did here.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he did here.
Yeah, but what if?
And we moved
What
the
if
chain.
the teams know that Sam likes to hold on to the ball too long, which all the statistics point to that. That's been a trend since college. So they have their corners really jumping the short routes, forcing longer, either intermediate or deep routes. And by the time that Sam has the time to go to those routes, he's being sacked.
Well, I think that's it.
Well, that's probably a defensive game plan. Look, Jalen Carter, according to Pro Football Focus, is the number 1 ranked interior lineman right now with Chris Jones, Dexter Lawrence, Byron Young.
Well, before he had all that controversy, at Georgia, he was thought to be the number 1 overall pick.
Right.
I mean, he's a complete stud. They stole
him.
him.
And the controversy was he was driving when
he was racing along with the car that went off the road and killed two people.
Yeah.
He was driving 110, right?
Did he have another knock against him too?
He had bad work. He showed
up
up to some workouts out of shape.
But that was after everything was
out.
out.
He was probably in the middle of hell. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I'm sure he wasn't in a great space.
He's a complete monster. But they've got a bunch of guys like that.
And the number that I saw for pass rush was, so he has in part-time work. Think about that. Part-time work. He has 15 pressures on the quarterback already. As an interior lineman.
No.
And Aaron O'Donnell has 14.
So what would you do? I wish we had Jay on. What would you do? I know Grant and Danny and those guys have him every week. I think you gotta go to your max protect packages. And you're gonna have to suck it up and swallow your 2-yard runs.
You're not going to be able to outscore them. So you got to somehow just slow the game down.
You got to slow the
shorten
game
it.
down. I think you got to max protect, and you just got to do quick read stuff.
Quick stuff to McLaurin and Dotson. Those guys have got to.
Yeah.
They have to be more heavily involved.
I would think
And then if they adjust, then you can hit them with something over the top.
And you know what? This would be. I don't know if he's going to be back for this game or not. This would be a perfect spot for Logan Thomas to come back and give Sam Howell another guy to look to in the offense.
Yeah.
He was heavily targeted the short amount of time he's been in the lineup.
Right.
That would be a great addition. if
Swift
he
is
comes back.
averaging 7 yards a carry.
Right.
Yeah. And what's the
That's
one
basically
thing
2 games.
that we've struggled with? And I say we because I'm a fan.
They're not stopping the run very well.
They don't stop the run great, especially early in games. Now, when they've needed stops in 2 out of the 3 games, they've come up huge in like the second half. And Deron Payne and John Allen, those boys, they take over. But they do get gashed at times on the ground. So they know that. They're not dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So I assume they're going to do something about that. I mean, if Jack just thinks, well, we're just going to put our front 4 up there, they're our number 1 picks, and they're just going to, do what they do, I'm not sure that's going to be good enough.
Well, I mean, those dudes could just get road graded by that offensive line. As good as the defensive line is, their offensive line might be the top 1 or 2 in all of football.
I'm not a football coach, Cakes. So do you stack the box and force Hurts to beat you with his arm?
Well, then you're dealing with A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith in single coverage.
But you
And
might rather do that.
Maybe you'll take your chances there.
And just hope that Jalen's just not accurate, super accurate. You could rush him into some
You just
throws.
got to hope they have a bad game.
Yeah.
That's
but
what you
gotta
have to
force
hope.
him to have a bad
Got to
game.
force some
You got to force him
turnovers.
to have a bad game.
Yeah,
Look,
I just
Jalen
don't
Hurts
know.
threw 2 picks this week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but he
He
had
did.
Said he
the
was
flu.
sick.
He had the flu, but yeah.
And
I know,
that
but he
one
also
touchdown
has that
threw, which
shoulder,
was
remember?
brilliant, but was by an inch. It was
Oh,
an
yeah.
inch from being picked.
Did you see the pocket he had on that one, though? he had the best
He
pocket
had some
ever.
time, but it closed quickly, and he found
You know what?
Zacchaeus downfield.
This is the emotional hedge week. And I know people get offended, but just load up your account on Philly so that you can't lose.
Money line.
So that if you lose your account, who cares? It's only money. But if you win, you're sized. It hurts. It eases the pain a little bit.
R.I.P. EB's mentions today from the HTTC
So, but
Kool-Aid
it's-
drink.
No,
Hey,
that's
Cakes,
why
why don't
this
you
is
put why don't you put a grand on the game?
Are you,
No, I
what,
just
you
put
talking
what
to
I
me
remember.
or
Yeah,
him?
Cakes.
I don't like
Why
to gamble
me?
that much.
I don't know because I can twist your arm easier.
I'm
than,
not putting
than
a
Eric.
grand on
Well,
this
do you
game.
agree with me? I mean, it's going to be hard.
It's hard. It's hard if you look at paper
yes.
Yep.
to find a win.
But they beat him last year.
I know.
I
Well,
know.
that's why
but
games
I know
aren't-
why they
that's
beat
why
him.
games
That's
aren't played
the
on
common
paper.
Theme, but I know why they beat him.